This is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's jump into it.
From the State Department to any American citizens inside Iran right now as the regime faces its most serious anti-government protests in years. President Trump ratcheting up the pressure on Iran, saying he's putting a 25% tariff on any country that does business there, quote, effective immediately. The violence inside Iran is growing worse amid a brutal crackdown, with one human rights group confirming the deaths of more than 500 protesters. It is an incredible black box, and to think that such a black box could exist in a world of social media like this. But Jumana Karacha is out front, and I want to warn our viewers that some of what you're about to see in her report may be disturbing.
Okay.
From behind the walls of the Iranian regime's censorship, a chilling video has emerged.
Oh my, dudes.
Every movement of what may be a hidden camera reveals a terrifying picture of what's been unfolding on the ground.
Yeah, let's not show this on the internet. Okay, guys, firstly, what happened here? The amount of people that are basically lying on the ground dictates to me that something absolutely terrible happened. A lot of loss of life here. Jeez, dudes. Was the military used against the people? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this here, guys. Because, like, I'm trying to understand how something like this could happen legitimately in the modern day time here. But I guess it also kind of, makes sense here. If the Ayatollah basically decided that they were going to shut off the internet, that's what he did. He did not want people to actually see this outside of Iran. Of course we see this, guys. Jeez.
They butchered him, this mourner wails. Families gathered at this medical center outside Tehran, searching for loved ones.
Saying it's Mossad agents?
Lifeless bodies are stored in a warehouse turned morgue. Inside the center, distraught family members stand anxiously in front of a screen that flashes photos of the dead.
Of the people who,
From that same location, state media had its own pictures and narrative, reporting the majority of the bodies are those of, quote, ordinary citizens. They blame their deaths,
regular
like
people,
the protests, on foreign-backed terrorists carrying out what they say are indiscriminate killings. These pictures the regime decided to air, perhaps a warning to those who dare take to the streets.
It's the foreign-backed ones. Sure thing, guys. Sure thing.
It's almost impossible for us to get real-time updates from Iran. The regime's shut down communications across the country on Thursday, just as nationwide protests against the clerical establishment drew larger crowds to the streets of every province. It's a tactic out of its playbook on crushing dissent, cover it's used in the past to unleash bloody force.
Right.
The little testimony and images that have been trickling out. Only a small window into what a ruthless regime doesn't want the world to see. Video like this that purportedly captures the feared state security forces out on the streets is slowly surfacing, sent out by those who are risking their lives to get it out.
And guys, I'm sure now, I'm honestly sure now you pretty much understand that, guys, like if it was like a random act of absolute wildness, let's just say this here, the internet would have not been shut off at the same rate. Like they knew this was coming. Okay. So how am I supposed to believe that it is not like legitimately the Iranian government that's actually in fact doing this? And yeah, I do agree here. If you are a foreign national, I think it's probably time for you to leave Iran if you are there for, nose surgery or whatever you're there for, guys, hair plugs, all these other things, guys, right? If you're there, leave. Get out of here. Get out of here immediately, because obviously if the actual local government is trying to kind of hide what's actually going on here, bro, something terrible is happening. So I would not be surprised if we start kind of heading into there almost immediately, guys. Like immediately.
Weighs its next move following the president's threats to strike
Is it a good
hard
thing?
if the regime kills protesters.
Not really.
President Trump now saying Iran has reached out to negotiate.
But we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting.
In this one location,
Yeah, because he literally told them that
With hundreds more confirmed killed elsewhere, according to activists, the world now braces for what may come when Iran finally emerges from the dark.
Guys, you could have blurred
Jumana
that.
Kadache, CNN, London.
And out front now is Skylar Thompson in the wake of Jumana's reporting. She's the deputy director at Human Rights Activists in Iran. It is an organization that is closely tracking the turmoil unfolding. And Skylar, I mean, it's just incredible. As I was talking about it with a black box, you have a view inside that box. The reports that we hear, violence inside Iran has skyrocketed in the last few days. And I know that you're getting more information about that, but also from inside hospitals. What are you learning tonight?
Yeah, a black box is a really, unfortunately, accurate way to put it. We've now seen an unprecedented shutdown of communication surpassing 100 hours. So it's really difficult information. It's reduced to a minimum. But what we are able to glean from our network is absolute brutality. Jumana's package correctly mentioned bodies upwards of 250 in one place. And we've, documented over 500 deaths, as you mentioned as well. But we have over 500 cases still under investigation. So it really sort of paints the picture of what kind of brutality we're looking at. Inside hospitals, we have collected documents from doctors that show people impacted with tear gas, people shot at close range, and oftentimes they can't even seek appropriate medical care because doctors are stretched thin or they're being taken directly to a detention facility rather than getting the care that they need.
And this is because of the dissent, obviously. And so what you're telling me is that these, like these outside actors, or they have access to basically put people inside of detention facilities, guys. Like, this is why I don't believe not a single thing here. Okay, I don't believe any of this. We do know, based off of the history of things here, if you go against the legitimate government, let's say, in this region here, so there are times where you will just be disappeared here. You can blame it on some type of foreign, entity, but I'm not sure this foreign entity specifically has the ability to put people into the detention centers.
I know that you've also been reporting, Skylar, on state television in Iran, and that there's been an unprecedented number of forced confessions that they have actually broadcast on state TV.
Of course.
What more can you tell us about that?
They have access to state TV also, guys?
Right. It's absolutely something that we haven't seen before. This number really concerns us. People are being arbitrarily arrested, as we've documented, thousands, tens of thousands of people. And what happens is they're arrested, they're taken to a detention facility, unknown at times. Sometimes we don't even know, where a person is being held. And then suddenly they appear on state television confessing
saying some crazy things,
being parts of rioters, terrorists, being associated or influenced by foreign elements. Right. And what's so concerning is these confessions happen under torture, psychological or physical sometimes, and then they carry the death penalty, the charges that they're admitting to under coercion.
What do you see is different? I mean, there are some out there saying, okay, this could be it. And then there are others who say, no, the protests have been massive before. Look at 2009 and the Green Movement. And of course, the death of the young woman in police custody that sparked mass protests in 2022 and 2023. Is this different?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is that we owe it to Iranians to believe in them, right? They are risking their lives coming to the streets. They risk their lives.
Bro, we don't owe nothing to a single person. What are you talking about? No. We don't owe anyone, right? But I understand if you want to kind of offer some aid, sure, right? But we don't owe anything to a single person. No one owes anyone anything, guys. Okay, these are entitlements.
To send us information.
No, we don't owe nothing, bro.
So it's really important that we believe in them and everything that they're saying. We have seen protests in every province across the country, in hundreds of cities, and I think that really shows the united nature of this moment. And we're also seeing it, I might add, across class, ethnicity. So that's really unique. And I think, on top of that, we don't just have a single trigger like we did in 2022. People are out on the streets because they simply can't live a good life. They can't buy oil. They can't buy rice. Money is
Right. The
not
economy is crazy.
stable,
Super crazy
and there's
there.
inflation, there's corruption.
Right.
Women don't have rights. This is just like a storm of a situation that's really unfolding.
Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton of Massachusetts, who sits on the Armed Services Committee. He's also a Marine Corps vet who served 4 tours in Iraq. Congressman, the White House is saying that what the Iranian regime is saying publicly is, quote, quite different from the messages the administration is receiving privately. What do you think the administration should do? What do you think is possible for the U.S. to do here?
Well, I mean, first of all, we of course stand with the Iranian people, and we all hope that this regime gets toppled. But what we're really hoping for is a better regime. And so we've got to be very careful to ensure that whatever we do, ostensibly to help the protesters, doesn't actually empower hardliners in Iran, and therefore lead to an even worse regime than we have. There's a real risk there, and that's why we have to have a serious plan. We can't just go in guns a-blazing like the Trump administration likes to do and think that it will solve the problem.
President Trump has said he's looking at what he calls very strong options that the U.S. could take against Iran. He's also said previously the U.S. getting involved doesn't mean boots on the ground.
Okay.
What kind of options do you think the U.S. has?
Well, we have a very wide range of options. And if the president is talking about going in and bombing Iranian sites, I would ask him to very seriously consider other options that might do more to help the protesters and not actually turn some people against America. You know, anecdotally, we've heard that after the B-2 raid on not just the Iranian nuclear facilities, but on officials living in downtown Tehran, where there is historically a lot of pro-U.S. sentiment, that the Iranian people really
they flipped.
were
Some of
angry
them
at the
flipped.
US, that sentiment
Right.
turned against the U.S. in the wake of those attacks. On the other hand, we have cyber capabilities, for example, that could really serve to open up the internet, to empower the protesters, to encourage sentiment against the regime. Those are the kinds of options that should really be on the table here. And I'm a bit concerned that, knowing the track record of the Trump administration, they're just thinking of military options alone.
There have been, obviously.
That's right. Let's just throw more money in more places. Guys, I mean, it's hard listening to these people speak sometimes, guys. I'm just going to be honest here. Listen, I think that if we're going to do some type of aid, I'm down with the concept of some light aid, but like boots on the ground type of scenario, like the risk of losing American life really does not really do anything for me specifically when it comes to that. I do not think that we should be going in militarily, guys. I don't think so. That's not really a thing here. This is not, you know, I don't know, like it's an issue geopolitically. Let's just say this here, obviously. But this does not kind of move the needle on anything kind of involving us at this moment, at least, right? But if we can do something, I'm down with doing something, but not like dumping money and you know, into like a money pit similar to you know, as we did with the with Ukraine.
Widespread protests in Iran before, most recently in 2022. Given the way that those were you know, ended, cracked down, what happened to many protesters, public executions. First of all, the courage of these protesters is extraordinary given what happened just a few years ago.
It's extraordinarily courageous.
Well, they're fed up. I mean,
these are
there's
real,
nothing left.
Modern day freedom fighters, much like the freedom fighters who are in Ukraine today, fighting for their freedom, their chance at democracy. So we want to do what we can to stand with them. And there's been plenty of criticism that the U.S. in the past has not done enough to topple the regime, to push, you know, to get past the tipping point here.
So many contradictions
but we just have to be very
on this channel.
carefully calibrated with our actions. And what we've seen in the most recent military adventure of this administration with Venezuela, they couldn't even decide what the justification was for going in. First it was, then it was not regime change, then it was regime change, and then it was oil, even though the oil executives now say they don't even want to invest in Venezuelan oil. So clearly the administration did not have a clear plan for Venezuela, and they don't have a plan for the day after. So let's make sure that if we do anything in Iran, we have a plan, we know exactly what it's set out to achieve, and there's some sort of plan for the day after that makes sure that moderate elements in Iran are empowered to have a pro-Western regime in the wake of this conservative regime being toppled.
Leave now.
Okay, guys, hold on. I would say definitely, like, it's either they, referring to the Democrats at least, right? Either you are for the concept of regime change or you're not. I would say that there's really not much of a difference here, but it seems very like a slight contradiction to not, if that makes any sense, like before kind of what happened in one way and not specifically be down for the same thing happening somewhere else, right? It's such a weird, I think, thing to hear kind of out loud here. There definitely is some validity, though. I mean, we definitely need to do something if we can do something, but I would not say that I'm going to be down with the idea of risking American life for this scenario, though, specifically. So what do we do here? Right? There definitely needs to be some type of. I listened to him completely. I heard him. There are just some issues with, I think, his statement. I saw in a comment you said you agree with him, but I don't. Right, not fully. It's just too many contradictions, guys. I mean, either you're going to be for the idea of going into a country and basically toppling and changing a government, or you're not. Right. That's kind of where I'm at on that like specific one, kind of like right there. But I would like to do something, but I just don't think that it's worth us risking a single American life for it. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings. And we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.